Now let's talk about the race for City Hall. Our candidate profiles continue tonight with our interview with City Council Speaker and Democratic candidate for mayor Christine Quinn. Our own Dominic Carter sat down for a candid and wide-ranging interview yesterday. Dominic, this was once the front runner, and I think she can do the math here. She knows she's got to turn this narrative around.
Indeed, Richard. Back in May, Quinn was the front runner, but things have changed. A number of factors have changed the game, including Anthony Weiner's full-fledged campaign. Unflattering articles hinting that Quinn's temperament, Richard, may be too much to handle, and her apparent decision to deploy a Rose Garden strategy, ignoring her challengers. Weiner is now in the driver's seat. Quinn still has a huge war chest and some notable endorsements. But will that be enough to save her candidacy? What you're seeing tonight is her first one-on-one interview since Quinn's slump in the polls. Madam Speaker, first of all, it's so nice to see you.
Good to see you, but you need to call me Chris.
Okay. Madam Speaker, I want to start this way. The NYPD and the mayor has found himself in quite a bit of a criticism, a firestorm of criticism regarding stop and frisk and so on. The mayor has said the numbers don't lie, defending his comment from Friday. The city disproportionately stops whites too much and minorities too little. Are the facts on Mr. Bloomberg's side?
The facts are absolutely not on the mayor's side. I couldn't disagree with the mayor more on that statement. He's dead wrong. Now look, the NYPD deserves a lot of credit. The first 6 months of this year, crime is at an all-time low, murder at an all-time low. That Ray Kelly murder at an all-time low deserves credit. But you know what else was heading down this first 6 months of this year because of everyone's collective activism? Stop and frisk. So that's a fact that shows you don't need to be doing unconstitutional stops to keep the city safe. And in fact, when crime was reducing at its highest rate, stops were much lower. This is a practice that has been conducted in an unconstitutional way. We became obsessed with the quantity, not the quality. We can be the safest big city in America and bring our police and communities back together.
Should Mayor Bloomberg apologize?
You know, Mayor Bloomberg should never have made that statement, and I think it would be good for the city if he changed the conversation and in fact engaged in a conversation with folks about why the legislation we're passed in the council is necessary.
But Mayor Bloomberg is apparently willing to spend some of his vast fortune to make sure that once he vetoes this legislation, that the council does not override it. What do you make of that?
The vetoes, I believe that the vetoes will be overridden. I encourage every New Yorker, whether they have the title mayor before their name or not, to lobby and advocate with council members when they feel something. Whether you agree or disagree with me, please. That's what we want people to do. That's what democracy is about. And if you're the mayor, you have that right just as much as anybody. But let's make democracy about discussion, advocacy, organizing, not money.
Let's switch gears and talk about Anthony Weiner, who's now the front runner in the race for mayor. Madam Speaker, does his scandal raise question, in your opinion, about his judgment? Is he too reckless to be mayor of New York?
You know, look, I think the big issue in this race, the thing New Yorkers care about, is the facts of their lives. And they want a mayor who can help make the facts of their lives better and easier. Look, Anthony Weiner and everybody else running, they can make you a lot of promises. And some of them are really good with the quippy line and the press release. That's not how you know those things are going to get delivered by a mayor. They're going to get delivered by somebody who has delivered. And I'm the only person in the race who has a record of having built affordable housing, protected tenants, improved our school, kept our city safe, brought new jobs to the city during the recession. So anybody with any challenges or whatever can come into this race, but at the end of the day, I'm going to win this race because New Yorkers want a mayor who can deliver, and the only way they know it's real and not just talk, which is cheap at the end of the day, is based on what we've done, and I've delivered, I will deliver, and that's what's going to matter, because polls go up, they go down.
Madam Speaker, Mr. Weiner, when we met with him about a month ago, told us over term limits, that was a deal breaker. He said under no shape or form can he endorse you or vote for you. Could you vote for him if he's the Democratic nominee?
You know, I'm going to vote for myself as the Democratic nominee. I'm going to vote for myself in the primary, in the runoff if I have to, and in November. And, you know, I respect Mr. Weiner's decision. I respect that that's his position, and I will win without his vote.
You know what the follow-up is. What if Weiner's the nominee? You already know what my follow-up question is.
And I'm not going there because I'm going to be the nominee. So,
Okay.
And apparently he's not voting for me, and life goes on.
And life goes on. Okay, fair enough. Why is this primary so unpredictable? You've lost.
It's New York. Do you think New Yorkers want to be predictable? What fun would New York City be giving us if we were having a predictable primary? New Yorkers are New Yorkers. They don't agree on a lot, but they agree on their passion for their city and their belief that the greatest days of this city lie ahead of us. I believe that. I'm going to move this city in this direction. So when it's all said and done, the one thing we can predict is that I'll win. But look, an unpredictable race, that's a New York race. Think about the history of races in New York.
How do you explain the fact that you've, thus far, because it might turn around, that you've lost a third of your support?
You know, the race changed. There's an additional person in the race, so that changes the dynamics of the math significantly. But again, polls go up, polls go down. At the end of the day, and I can tell you from the great conversations I'm having out there with New Yorkers, that they're excited about what I've done with them to make this city a better place, and they're really excited about moving forward to an even better place. And New Yorkers, I mean, I'm kind of joking around about them being unpredictable. They're smart people. And they know that a record matters. And they know that if you look at other people's record, there's a big hole in the place where results should be. The other thing New Yorkers want is a politician who doesn't pander, who says, this is my position. You may not agree with it, but this is my position. Let's move forward. And if you compare the other folks in the race, whether it's, you know, the 91st Street substation or anything, 97th Street Marine Transportation, excuse me, I'm going to tell you what I think is right, and that's what I'm going to do. And you can boo me or not, but that's what New Yorkers want.
I didn't know your background. You came out with your book,
Right.
Patience and Fortitude, in which you first revealed your struggles with an eating disorder and alcoholism around the time of your mother's death. Senator Al D'Amato said, ha, 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 oh, give me a break. I'm crying. My campaign is suffering. I'm going down. It's a bunch of bunk. Did that hurt your feelings?
You know, no, it didn't hurt my feelings. It made me worry about somebody else who might read those comments, who might be, you know, it didn't hurt my feelings. I'm a 46-year-old grown woman, you know what I mean? And in this business, I have a thick skin. But it was an unkind statement. And my book was written to help those other 16-year-old girls out there who were in that position that I was in 30 years ago. And it didn't hurt my feelings, but I worried whether it hurt their feelings.
Now, you say it didn't hurt your feelings, but it seems like you're getting emotional right now.
Well, I'm getting a little emotional thinking about people in that position and what I think the world needs for girls and boys and people who are struggling, people whose parents are sick, people who are in homes that are having issues that are blaming themselves. Those children need our love. They need our support. Politics is something altogether different.
Well, tomorrow the plot thickens. We'll ask Quinn if she's worried regarding if New York is ready for a woman mayor who is an open lesbian. Richard will talk more about term limits, Police Commissioner Ray Kelly, and who has been the best mayor in New York in Quinn's lifetime.
And I get where you're going with that last one here, but you gave her an opportunity, Dominic, to go after Anthony Weiner. He's already gone on record saying he wouldn't vote for her. She didn't take the bait. Why?
I think all the candidates are afraid of how to handle Mr. Weiner as of right now. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Richard will disagree with me. Maybe Andrew will. But Christine Quinn first of all, she's a very guarded person. And while she said she only got a little emotional, that's the most emotion I've seen her display. And I've known her for 20 plus years. So it was clear that D'Amato got under her skin. I don't know why they're not going after Weiner yet, because if they wait too long, it'll be too late.
Right?
That's right. That's right.
A theory on that. First of all, I don't think she wants to raise her negatives at all. I mean, her negatives are higher than I think her campaign would be comfortable with. Going on the attack might raise her negatives, but also, I think there might be a feeling that the press or the other candidates will knock Anthony Weiner down a peg, or some bombshell news story will knock him down a peg. So maybe she doesn't need to spend her political capital doing that, at least right now.
Do you think her biggest problem, guys, is Anthony Weiner, if you look at the polls, or her connection to Mayor Bloomberg, and she spent all these years embracing the mayor, thinking it was a net asset, and now this close to the election, it's an open debate if he's hurting or more than helping.
It was a net asset. Now it's a negative in ways that once people decide what they like or dislike about her, will be the thing that will be the most trouble to her. She's a very likable person. She's got a great laugh. She's in touch with herself and other human beings. But she helped Bloomberg get a third term. And among Democratic primary voters, that's a negative. Everybody brings strengths and weaknesses to these kinds of things. This race is not even close to being over. She's well positioned, but so are the others. Let's see how it plays out. It doesn't do her any good to attack Anthony Weiner. She's got to talk about herself. She did a good job in that interview with Dominic.
And you know what, Richard? We bring up the term limits issue in great detail tomorrow night. And as you know, we're all trained to be somewhat cynical or not believing as much.
Trained, it's genetic.
It's genetic, okay. And she almost had me going on her term limits answer. Yeah. So you'll hear that tomorrow night.
I will say two things tonight. We saw Congressman Lowy, who quickly went with no comment when it came to Anthony Weiner. We'll see how that plays out. And also, I'm really going to be curious how she navigates the Bloomberg relationship because at the end of the day, she's got to figure out, at least for the voters here, is she the one who crossed swords with the mayor on stop and frisk, or is she the one who, as Richard said, did everything she could to make sure that he could be on the ballot for a third time? All right, again, tune in tomorrow for part 2 of Dominic's one-on-one exclusive interview. When we come back, though, we switch gears. We talk about an issue we spoke with the congressman earlier tonight, and that's about college and how it's got even more expensive. The numbers that will blow you away and the long-term debt that carries on with this millennial generation. It's one of the biggest issues we're going to have to deal with here. We're going to be right back talking with a couple experts about that after this.